Hey, I'm Dr. Namrata. I talk about leading an authentic life with kindness, respect, and courage. I just want to share with you this amazing view. Apparently, we had a blue supermoon yesterday, and this tide is so high in the lake, and it's all because of the supermoon, because the moon is closer to the earth. It's at the closest point to earth. But it's just such a beautiful sight because usually the water's down there, and today it's up here. It just looks gorgeous. Um, Anyways, I wanted to quickly share my thoughts on something that I've observed, and it's so fascinating. It deserves a video of its own. I want to talk about narcissists and how every authentic needs the experience of coming face to face with a narcissist and with betrayal in order to push them into their authenticity. And I've been through this, and many authentics go through it. Every authentic person who is, let's say that they're also empathetic in nature, right? So their first approach to every human being is going to be, I respect you. You seem like a chill dude or dudette, and we're gonna, work together or have a family together or, live life together. That's usually the approach of good, healthy human beings, right? Whenever they engage in any kind of relationship, family, work, friendships, doesn't matter. And what ends up happening is that sometimes some relationships end up becoming something you did not completely expect at all, right? And I'm using the example of narcissists because they're kind of the extreme version of people who manipulate very, very heavily in order to get their way. And they're right up there on that spectrum of manipulation. Now, manipulation is a normal tactic used by, just a disclaimer here, manipulation is used by a lot of people. Any person who uses manipulation once or twice is not a narcissist, okay? A narcissist is someone who consistently only uses manipulation and lies to get their way. And there's different categories. We don't need to go into that. Essentially, I would put it into two buckets. You have the grandiose who are very loud, very angry. So these are the difficult bosses, the really loud ones who shout, who scare people into believing or getting them to do their work, right? That's the grandiose kind. They're very low emotional intelligence, in fact, none. And the other side is covert narcissists. Now, these are the guys who are very tricky to catch. And I've had my experience with them. And these are the guys or girls who are so kind, who are so nice, who are totally owning and playing that game of being a genuinely good human being. And that's why you engage with them, because you're like, hey, this is a chill dude. I resonate with this person. Looks like we can build something good here, right? And it's only probably in, let's say, 6 to 9 months' time when they actually start flipping the script entirely and start confusing the other side. So that would look something like, in front of other people, they're giving you opportunities, they're letting you speak, they're letting you shine, they're praising you in front of other people in the early days of the relationship, right? Work or family or romantic, doesn't matter. So they're going to be super nice to you, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I hit the jackpot. Yes. And then suddenly in 6 to 9 months' time, or somewhere around that, I'm just saying, spitting out a number here, but then suddenly behind closed doors, they're going to start behaving very different. And they're not going to raise their voice. They're not going to be weird. They're going to do it with an expression of concern, as if there's something wrong with you. It's a total 180 flip to their behavior. And most people are not able to capture it because most people don't have strong self-esteem. So that's why they fall for it. And the way that it presents itself is these people will say, I didn't expect this because I thought that, it was going to happen this way, but I was a bit disappointed when I saw you do X, Y, Z. It's very concerning tone and language. And because you've, by this point, completely built a very strong relationship, at least as long as you thought you did, you get very confused. You're like, what the hell just happened? Okay? And when I went through it personally, I was very confused. But the good thing is that because I've dealt with difficult people in the past, I probably didn't directly hit my own self-esteem because I have a very healthy self-esteem. I built it with my own efforts, right? I worked on myself. So when this started happening, it instead started being put into a box of red flags. And I said, this is weird. How can a human being flip their behavior so suddenly? This is weird, right? And when that happens, you have an option. You can either play their game or you can make your own game. And this is strategy. And authentics do this very well. So the moment that first red flag presents itself, now the person is in a totally different headspace. Because now this other person, no matter how kind they were, how nice they were, suddenly you're seeing their mask fall. And the smart people play along for a certain amount of time because they're gathering evidence to take a decision for themselves on whether it's worth sticking around in this situation or whether it's time to go. And in my case, I planned an exit strategy. I managed to get myself out very fast because there is absolutely no point in me engaging with this person who is medically ill. Okay? It is a medical condition for which the patient will never go to therapy. That's the situation. Narcissists will never go and seek help. They don't see anything wrong with themselves. You can keep trying, banging doors and trying to bang your points in. Nothing's going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Instead, interestingly, narcissists end up sending other people to therapy. I thankfully had been through enough experiences, difficult, very, very challenging experiences in life, which allowed me to navigate the situation very quickly, and I got myself out, right? But I played my own game, and that's what authentics do. What you got to do is you got to start studying this individual as long as you have the chance to. For me, this was my first experience. I was like, oh, this is such a fascinating case study, and I'm a doctor. So I would send messages by email and say, let's see how he responds to this. Okay, this is a work situation. And every single time in my little flowchart that I was building in my head on whether to stay or to leave, every single time it was, if narcissist, yes, no. And every time I threw him a certain test, which he has no clue about, right? Because they're not very smart people. Every single time the response was, oh yes, he is, right? And I was building this mental flowchart of, okay, let's send a completely opposite version of the message now. Let's see how he responds to that. So basically, every time I sent any kind of messaging or communication where I am succumbing to his game, I am dimming my light, I am being allowed to be put in my place, which was his old strategy. Every narcissist has that strategy. They want to push you down, show you your place and all that stuff. So every time I sent a message where I acted as if I'm agreeing to it, the response was so positive. They're like, thank you for understanding. Thank you for, and it was always like, this is so obvious, and then if you send the opposite kind of message, which is you're standing up for yourself, you're like, I'm not falling for this. And the reaction is always so extreme. So it was such an interesting case study. I'm glad I went through the experience because on the other end, the version of me that came out after this was, I'm never going to allow myself to be put in these situations again. And I am never going to probably trust people the way that I did. And that's a good thing because now I've gotten even smarter than I was before. And every authentic person goes through such experiences. You have to be betrayed. You have to be let down. You have to see the flaw. In fact, I would say in the grand picture of things, let me end it by saying this. I don't know how spiritual you are, but in the grand scheme of things, an authentic and a narcissist have to come face to face because each are meant to serve as the vessel of a lesson for the other side. And it's more likely the narcissist will not understand the lesson, but the authentic will. And if they're smart, they will not stick around. They will not play their game. They're going to build their own game. They're going to plan their exit strategy. They're going to get out and they're going to be far, far more smarter than they ever were. So if you found yourself being betrayed by people, family, friends, or work, understand that this is a very small portion of the world and this happens too. The reason you're being put through that experience is because you're supposed to grow out of it. Not because you have to become more cynical or try and change the other side or play their game. No, if you're strong, find that courage, find that self-belief, find that self-esteem and say, I am not going to let this person gaslight me. It's just not going to happen, right? I'm not going to let this person try and show me my place because clearly there's something monumental which kind of is defining them to react in that way, right? And when that happens, you realize that if they're feeling threatened by you, you've got something that is far beyond their capability. Believe in that side of yourself. Remove yourself. Cut ties completely. And when I say completely, completely. You block and you don't go back. You don't care. Let them do whatever they do in the background. They're gonna run smear campaigns. I made another video about it. Go and check it out. They're gonna do these things, but you gotta rise all above that, and you got this. You got this. Okay? So don't be scared. Whatever happens, no fear. Step into your own being, have that courage. You're gonna figure it out. You always do. I did, and so can you, and so do many other people. So allow that light in you to shine and come through. Step into your own being and live. Live with that kindness, respect, and courage that you are. Okay? Love you.